Thank you so much, and I'm delighted to be here this evening. This is a wonderful partnership with the community, with different departments in the county government, and I'm really excited about what's going to be coming up this fall. I like to think of placemaking as actually a celebration of place. Um, Fairland and Briggs Chaney are places. We aren't trying to make them into places. They are places with their own uh, character, with their own vibe, with their own priorities. And I think the goal of our planning effort and of this placemaking effort is to celebrate what is special about the Fairland Briggs Chaney area and to help the community envision how to take those next steps to creating an even better community with as Jeru said, with a great central meeting point, a great place for people to come together as a community, as a neighborhood. It's a great opportunity to test some different ideas that we've heard during all of the listening that's been going on about what kind of central spaces, what kinds of public spaces are most important to the residents of Fairland Briggs Chaney. And I think it will follow on and hopefully have the same success that we've had in other placemaking efforts that we've done in Randolph Hills, in Burtonsville, in the Pike District, in Long Branch. And we've worked with all of those communities to, again, bring people together and sort of envision how this community can grow, thrive, become an even better place to live. So we're very excited to start on this effort and to work with the community and to hear your ideas on how we should be proceeding. So with that, thanks. I guess, turn it back to Don.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Now I would like to throw it over to the Up County Area Chief, Patrick Butler.
I thank you, Don. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Yeah, just want to echo what Gwen said, and previously in discussions with Jeru and Robin, the East County Regional Services Center, Department of Rec. We really want to continue the great work that we've been doing together, continue being a great partnership, and really want to help with this event. Everything Gwen said, help celebrate this place. We want to help, we want to enhance and add to some of the great work that Jeru and Robin have been doing for East County, and just really excited about this opportunity and really excited that you're all here. So again, not to repeat everything Gwen said, I'll stop there, but just again, very, very excited to be working with you and to continue this partnership. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And now I'd like to welcome our partner and co-host for the Fairland and Briggs Chaney Festival kickoff meeting, the Better Block Foundation. Here with us today is Kristen Nightingale, who is Executive Director with the Better Block Foundation. Kristen will provide a presentation, discuss the role, and further discuss our placemaking efforts in the Fairland and Briggs Chaney community the next couple of months.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. It's wonderful to see you this evening. We are excited to be with you. As was said, I am Kristen Nightingale. I'm the Executive Director of the Better Block. And I have with us as well Kristen Leiber, who is our Senior Project Manager, and she is heading up this project. So she will talk about what that means and what that looks like in just a few moments. But first, I want to give you a little bit of background to what exactly the Better Block is and why we're with you this evening. So the Better Block is an urban design nonprofit, and we are based out of Dallas, Texas. Our first project and work started about 11 years ago when our founding director, Jason Roberts, walked out onto this street and asked with his community what could be done to make this street better. They wanted to add cafe seating. They wanted to add flowers. And basically, they just wanted to create a space where people could come together. But they quickly learned that there were ordinances from the 40s that were prohibiting these things from happening. So it's $1,000 to add sidewalk flowers. It was area times market value times 85% times 12% to add street cafes. And there was an ordinance that said it was illegal for people to gather on a sidewalk. So Jason and his neighbors took a look at this and they realized that to do the things they wanted to do, they may have to break a couple laws. They were familiar with this concept called tactical urbanism, which is where the community goes out and demonstrates some of the changes that they would like to see in an effort to get those changes made more permanently. So that's what they did. For one weekend, they took over their street. They put in some bike lanes with kids paint and duct tape, knowing they could remove it quickly if they had to. They rented some old lighting. They put in some seating. They talked to some of their neighbors and they said, hey, we have these vacant buildings in this space. Would you have any interest in popping up for the weekend and just testing out your business idea? And their neighbor said, yeah, let's give it a go and just see what happens. Throughout all of this, they actually printed off those ordinances that they were breaking, and they asked city staff to come take a look. And they said, hey, look, the reason we can't have this active street life that we're seeing right now is because we have some of these ordinances in place. They weren't sure what was going to happen, but city staff said, you know what, you're right. We need to work and we need to change some of these things. And over time, they did change some of the fees. Now, one other thing that they demonstrated in this particular project was the idea of turning the street from a one-way into a two-way street. When you have a two-way street, you can slow down traffic, which makes it safer not only for pedestrians, but it also helps businesses because people will slow down and see that you're there and perhaps be enticed to stop and come over. So this project was all 11 years ago, and literally yesterday at 2 o'clock, the street that they proposed turning into a two-way was actually turned into a two-way. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but it was well worth it. So Jason and his friends started to see some of the success of some of these projects that they were doing. And they open sourced this concept of the better block. And it is spread around the country and around the world. So we are now in this old car garage in the Oak Cliff neighborhood of Dallas, which is one part office space, 2 parts workshops. And we use different tools to help communities reimagine their spaces. One of those tools is digital fabrication. We have an online library of street furniture designs that anyone, anywhere can download for free. You cut them out with a CNC router, which is like a giant printer for wood. And then you can build these elements without any glue, screws, or nails. And you can put them out on your sidewalk or in your street and make it instantly better. And we just launched an extension of this library with AARP with a line of furniture that's focused on folks 50 and above. So if you want to test out some furniture tonight, you're welcome to download all of those designs for free. These tools that we use help us work with communities and places all over the country. So we can go to places like Duluth, Minnesota in the middle of November and turn this cold gray space into this warm, inviting atmosphere. We can go to places like Toronto and create Canada's first ever Vision Zero project, where we can turn the spaces with really wide roads and turn them into spaces where the community can actually take place. We can work in our home here in Dallas and take a space that's experiencing high crime and work with the community to look at it and warm it up and create spaces that are safer for students as they're walking to and from school. And then we can go to places like Quincy, Washington, which is a town of about 13,000 people. And we can take a street like this with really excited neighbors and amazing business owners on either side. And we can turn it into a space like this that's activated for their farmers market or for their Friday nights that they do. This kind of shows you how quickly a project like this can actually take place or how quickly the transformation takes place. So in the matter of 4 days, working with a lot of volunteers, we're able to take it from that street into this kind of space where they can continue to activate it. Now, of course, the planning takes much longer than that to get everything in place. So the whole process is 120 days. And you all are on day 1 right now, which Kristen will talk about what that means and what the next 119 days look like. But in our projects, we really like to work alongside the neighbors and identify the resources that they already have on site and say, how can we rethink some of these things and create more activated spaces? In this situation, this town is known for its apple orchards, and they have a lot of apple bins. And so we worked with the neighbors to turn those apple bins into a stage. And we also worked with them to turn them into a place where we could put trees, and we could also put light poles and string lights across. And then we worked with their local high school, which had a CNC router, and they cut out all of these wiki block elements for the actual project. And then while the Better Block handles the licensing and the permitting and the insurance, the community brings the heart and soul into the space. And I think I saw that Sebastian had joined our call this evening, and he is one who helped bring the heart and soul into a previous project. So we're excited to see him on the call and to work with him again, potentially. So in a lot of ways, people always ask us, well, what is the point of doing placemaking activities, especially when it's something that's a pilot demonstration, meaning it's only going to last for a couple of days. We do see a lot of long-term change happen from the projects that we work on. The first part is community engagement. Pretty much the entire process of a Better Block is community engagement. And we're trying to, as was mentioned earlier, meet people where they are. So you can take a big role and be one of the leaders for the project, or you could come for the actual installation and help us paint a ground mural, or maybe your schedule only allows you to come for the actual event. And if that's it, that's absolutely wonderful, because when we get you there at the event, we hope that you enjoy the space and you get to use it, but we're also going to ask you some questions about that and get feedback so that can help influence the long-term changes. We also see street changes happening after projects. In the case of our very first Better Block, that street change took 11 years, but it got done. So it can take some time, but we do see some changes happening. We do see programming continuing on. We see a lot of increase in street life. We see positive perception changes, and we see a lot of newly formed community partnerships. We often tell people that we do this work for a lot of reasons. One reason that we joke about is we sometimes build for Instagram. We say that because we believe that people deserve to live in places that they want to show off. People should live in places that they want their friends to come to and places that they're proud of. And so in some ways, we may be building for Instagram, but ultimately we're building for love. Often when we talk about the work that we do, people ask about the what ifs. What if a homeless person comes and sits on the bench? What if someone comes overnight and ruins all this stuff? And what we always tell folks is that we're going to build for love and not for fear. And we're going to build for the community who's there and not all the what ifs that we as humans are so amazing at coming up with. So we are very excited to be building alongside all of you, and I can't wait to see what kind of love we can show this space and what it will look like. So now I will turn it over to Kristen to talk about the specific details of this project.
Hi guys, I'm Kristen Leiber, Senior Project Manager for the Better Block. I was lucky enough to help out with Burtonsville, and some of you might have seen me in the Pike and Rose area last year, but excited to be back for a third time. We are looking forward to this project in Fairland, Briggs, Chaney. I had the opportunity to come visit and see the sites earlier this year. So we have located, as was mentioned before, in the Park and Ride in Fairland, Briggs, Chaney. We have some really great ideas to create more walkability, more interaction between all the great resources there, connect with the elementary school a bit better, increase wayfinding. We have a lot of ideas, but what we're really looking for is community engagement and your ideas. So we have launched a survey as of tonight. We're looking for some feedback. There will be opportunities there to really dive into some kind of creative moments, some more straightforward moments that you feel should be addressed. There's some opportunities to raise your hand as a small business owner or a volunteer in different capacities. So it'll be a really great chance for you to step into the project however makes sense for you. That will be, so as of today, that's open. Please share with your friends and family on Nextdoor, Facebook groups, anything you think might be appropriate, especially for those right around this area. That will be open until late June, I believe the 20th. At that time, we'll begin sourcing, following up, sourcing our local block captains to lead us to the project. We'll be working with them closely, as well as the county and the permits department to focus on the design work. So we'll be layering our urban design expertise over your community survey feedback. From there, we'll begin weekly leadership meetings, kind of incorporating all the programming elements everyone would like to see. And then we'll be on the ground towards the end of October, building and painting and doing all sorts of cool volunteer workshops that you guys can get involved in. And then the event begins on the 21st, and it'll be a Friday and Saturday evening event. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of opportunities to give your voice. So this is just the first of very many. This is the website that you guys can follow. You can see here the Montgomery planning and placemaking efforts in general, but you will also see a link to the Fairland Briggs Chaney project, and you can start giving your feedback there. From there, I'll be reaching out. I'm really looking forward to working with you all. I'm very much excited to be back in Montgomery County, like I said, and really thrilled to see some familiar faces on the call today. That's my email address. If you have any questions during the survey process, or even before we get started with our design work or before the survey closes, please don't hesitate to reach out. Would love to hear from you. I think we've got a little time for Q&A. So while we are, just keep in mind we're day one, I won't have many answers on the specifics of the design, but I can talk in general, and so can Krista, on the approach or the general things we see come from these projects.
All right, thank you so much, Krista and Kristen. Just 1 second. All right. We will now open it up for questions. If you'd like to speak, feel free to add them in this chat or raise your hand and we will call on you. At this time, you can unmute yourself and turn your cameras on, and we will do our best to answer your questions. Second. So please feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have any questions.
Hello, Ken. My name is Dan. I'd like to know if you can put the screen back up about in regards to the website, montgomeryplanning.org.
Sure, 1 second.
Thank you.
Are there any
Thank
other?
you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Drew, please.
And the Blood folks, just talk a little bit more about the community engagement part of this initiative. Just, in terms of how you your experiences in the different communities. You talked about Duluth, in Europe and other parts of the country. What types of community engagement activities can you share with us here?
Sure. The kickoff is a great start, but it's really just to get the ball rolling and to create some initial momentum of community awareness. From here, we use different tools and communities that we can that are best used in this community specifically to reach out. So email campaigns, next door Facebook, like I mentioned, sometimes door-to-door flyers. So we really work closely with what community we're in. I know in this case we're near many apartment buildings, so reaching out to apartment managers and getting with people at the rec center through the elementary schools. That's really important. From then, after the initial surveying process, we reach out to just about everyone on the survey process who wants to get a bit more involved or learn a little more. So we'll have one-on-one conversations and see how that will best go about. And from there, it's kind of a snowball rolling downhill. So we see a lot of people make recommendations of their neighbors or a small business in town or a nonprofit we should be connecting with. And that really ends up with the event in October. And there's generally a friend of a friend of a friend who was told about something, and we get them plugged in the way that makes the most sense for the community. So it's really us not trying to reinvent the wheel with any outreach, but trying to use what works best and connect people with opportunities that maybe they haven't, they haven't had an opportunity before. So we're really looking for the people on this call tonight to help us get the ball rolling, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, as Kristen said, a big part of this is who else should we be talking to and hearing what people have to say. So that survey will ask that question. So please let us know all the different organizations we should be reaching out to and the individuals you know of. We're looking for the super volunteers. We're looking for folks who maybe haven't stepped up yet but would like to, and we will chase down all those leads and talk to all those folks.
The reason I just asked the question is that in working with Molly on the Fairland rewrite update, there's been extensive outreach with some information that I thought probably may possibly overlap, this initiative. So, just wondering, where do we make that connect, to take from what we already learned through that process. To make it a little bit unduplicative, but it's also just as a learning point, as a starting point moving forward.
Yeah. I spoke with Dawn Angelica about that. We don't love to over survey. That's a common problem we see in certain areas. So we will leverage that survey process and see who indicated interest in something like this, and then we'll build off of that. So while this is another questionnaire, I do believe that this asks different questions, is a little bit more open-ended, and then we're definitely looking at the kind of the master planning questions to see how we can combine the two and cast a wider net.
Great, thank you. I believe we have one question in the chat.
From Dan.
Okay, and yes, please, Dan, go ahead, and then we ask the question from the chat.
Okay, I have to apologize. I came onto this webinar meeting just a bit late and possibly missed some very good information. And I noticed that it is being recorded. Is there any place I could actually, one, view the recording to possibly brush up and catch up on some of the stuff that has been projected already? And two, in regards to the survey that you guys are talking about, has that already been presented or distributed, or is that something that's coming in, I guess, before the end of this meeting?
Well, this is Jamie. I'll answer the first part of the question. I started the recording late, so the recording probably missed the same part of the meeting you did. So I apologize for that.
It's okay.
Okay.
But the recording will live on our website. That
Okay.
showed before, and we can provide that in the link to this meeting chat right here.
Right.
Also, in that same website, the survey also lives there as well, for you to also take that survey questionnaire as well. And we'll also share that before we conclude this meeting as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
I believe there was one question in the chat that had asked, what are the boundaries of the area? I don't know if Marlene, if you could just share what are the boundaries of the master plan area?
Sure. I don't know. Do we have a map of it in the PowerPoint presentation? Maybe it's easier for you to just show a visual of the actual outline. Sorry, I thought my camera was on. So the boundary goes as far north at the tip of the Fairland Recreation Park and as far down south, I think the last intersection of our master plan boundary is the Tech Road and Old Columbia Pike. So Tech Road and Route 29, and then it extends a little bit beyond that intersection, but not too far. So there it is highlighted in black, and so you have Route 29 as the spine that connects all of the uses, but you have kind of this dumbbell or weight on the northern side and the southern side on the southern region. And the ICC kind of cuts the south from the north, so that's what you're seeing. But there are, three BRT stations within the master plan boundary. Of course, we have some local parks. Most of the housing is multifamily. Anything else? Any other questions? Sorry.
Oh, no, that was it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
There is another. Does the master plan include the Viva White Oak area?
No, it does not.
Any other questions, comments? This is your chance to ask planning officials and Better Block Foundation questions about this great event.
Well, there are, Sebastian has provided a few comments in the chat. Sebastian, can you turn your mic or camera on, or would you like me to just read?
Sure. Hi, this is Sebastian. And just I was involved with the Burtonsville placemaking event, Better Block, and the planning department, and the rec department, and parks. Yeah, transportation department. They all did a fantastic job for Burtonsville. But as was being mentioned by Krista, when she was commenting on how road design was changed based on one of the Better Block events, it looks like State Highway is at least considering one of the ideas that came up from the Burtonsville placemaking event, which was taking Route 29, which is north of 198, and converting that from I think like a 6-lane road down to a 4 or 3-lane road. And so State Highway is looking at that, and I think they did a study, and so the study's the first step, and then they have to design it and construct it, but at least it's making progress. So that's exciting. There can always be new ideas coming from these long-term ideas.
Great, thank you. Molly, please.
I wasn't sure if I was able to ask questions too, but I just wanted to piggyback off of Sebastian's question about, long-term goals versus short-term goals, and whether or not it's envisioned when we're thinking about the ideas that we're going to get from the community as to what could actually be implemented in the future. And so I just wanted to speak to that because maybe that might help guide somebody's ideas into thinking about, well, what are the things that actually need to be resolved today versus phased in over time, and maybe it could be like, public art or something at along the sidewalks, or something like a bike lane. I wasn't sure if the extension goes out to Briggs Chaney or if it only is on the subject property where the BRT park and ride is. It doesn't bleed into the right of way, probably not, but just thought I'd ask.
I can answer that unless someone more local wants to take it, but I think we are limited to the park and ride parking lot for just this one project.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns, questions about the event, questions about the Fairland Briggs Chaney Master Plan?
And sorry, I'll just jump in again. Patrick Butler, of County Division Chief, with a thought. As we embark on this placemaking event at this site, I think it would also be part of what we want to do is not just host one event that's isolated. It happens on this weekend and then that's it. We would like something that would continue on that helps further the master plan goals, further the partnership. Again, with Drew, Robin, with the East County Services Center, with the Department of Rec, it'd be nice if not even from a planning perspective, but from that partnership, that there's some ideas that come out of this that then live on at some of the other sites that and some of the other work that you're doing, if some of these elements can be replicated in the events that you will continue to do in terms of food distribution and other things. So again, we want to work with you on those ideas and see if you can perhaps take some of these away and replicate this on other sites and events that you all do. You're doing great work, and again, just want to strengthen that partnership as well. So, anyways, it's food for thought as we move through this process.
Great, thank you. And just to let everyone know, I mean, you'll be able to reach us and contact us at any time. If you think of any other questions, you can always feel free to use chat or reach out to us by email. I will share my screen once again, just to provide more contact information for you to be able to reach us. Again, you can reach out to Kristen Lever from Better Block. You can also reach out to Angelica Gonzalez, who is actually the project lead. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight, but she's doing a great job leading this event. And the questionnaire link is up on the Fairland and Briggs Chaney website for you to fill out to answer questions about what you would like to see for this placemaking event. To conclude this event, I would like to now throw it over to our Montgomery County Planning Board Chair, Casey Anderson, to provide some closing remarks.
Well, I'm really excited that we're working with Better Block again. I just wanted to tell everybody who is participating in this first kickoff that having been through this twice, I've never met anybody that worked with Better Block that didn't feel good about what came out of it. And it's really all about, like most things in life, what you get out of it depends on what you put into it. And I think we can say with a lot of confidence from the previous 2 times we worked with Better Block that you won't be disappointed if you spend the time on this, and that not only will you get to be a full participant, but you'll really get an opportunity to see some of your own ideas realized. And I think we can still see in Randolph Hills that community is they're continuing a lot of the things that started with the Better Block project. And I think we'll see that at Burtonsville Shopping Center eventually as well. So it's really worth putting in the time. And it's actually one of the most entertaining public processes you'll ever be involved with. So I hope you'll all jump in.
Thank you so much. Again, we look forward to your participation and hope to see you at the Fairland and Briggs Chaney Placemaking Festival on October 21st and 22nd. Please take a look at the questionnaire, which is now available until June 20th online. We will also be sending a follow-up email to those who have registered, where you will be provided a link to the survey. A recording of this presentation will also be available online if you'd like to go back and share it with friends and family. If there are no other questions or comments for tonight, we thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you on October 21st and October 22nd for the Fairland Briggs Chaney Placemaking Festival. Thank you, and everyone have a good night.